Welcome to a new LinkedIn Live event. Today, our topic is Manage Active Directory like a pro with au2mator self-service portal. I want to show you today some use cases our customers use to improve their Active Directory management. At the beginning, we're just starting with some introductions and some advantages you gain with the au2mator self-service portal related to the Active Directory management. So you can delegate tasks, and one of the most used tasks in relation to Active Directory is to update the user details. But those things are not done by the IT department. Those things are done by, for example, HR department or local responsibilities to update the attribute, but not the IT. Okay. And the next thing is you can also delegate tasks to your help desk, to your service desk, to your support team. So they can easily do tasks in Active Directory without opening the Active Directory console, without logging in to any domain controller, without running any PowerShell scripts on their own. So you have a web GUI as a front end to delegate those tasks to your users or to your help desk or to the HR department. So you dramatically increase the security and you increase the possibilities for the management of Active Directory because you have a GUI to delegate things, but no one needs to touch the Active Directory directly. And also the user lifecycle management then becomes a glitch because it's really easy to do the user onboarding and the user offboarding with au2mator, but without the involvement of the IT department. Okay. So we start with a small introduction and then we switch over to our demo.
So my name is Michael Seidel. I'm a Microsoft MVP since 2015. I'm an automation consultant since more than 10 plus years, and I'm the founder and CEO of au2mator. au2mator was founded in Austria, Europe in 2015. Back then as a web front end for System Center Orchestrator runbooks. Lucky if you still know what Orchestrator is. So in 2019, we enhanced our portal to be used by 4 automation engines. So on top of System Center Orchestrator, we added the PowerShell, Azure Automation, and System Center SMA. But 3 years later, so in 2022, we removed the SMA because it just wasn't used by our customers. And Microsoft didn't put a lot of effort in it. So right now we have 3 automation engines, but no SMA. And today, we are happy to have a growing consulting team and happy to help our customers all around the world with au2mator and in automating their IT processes. So how does all this work together? So before you start with the au2mator, you need your automation builder. You have to build your automation. So you have to build your orchestrator runbooks. You have to build your Azure automation runbook or your PowerShell script. You use initialized data to put some values into your automation. So that's everything standard to the automation engine. So nothing special for au2mator self-service portal. Then you do your automation and you give some return data. Okay, so that's the prerequisite. Then au2mator comes in place. So more on the admin side, you create a service, you connect it to your automation you built before, you configure your questions with multiple question types and so on. You can configure an approval. So if your manager needs to approve before the automation is started or some group of users needs to approve, that can be configured. And of course, each service can be limited to a bunch of users, to a bunch of groups, whoever is allowed to trigger that request. And then the end user can start a request. If an approval is configured, the user has to wait for the approval to be done. And of course, the user will be informed about this process. So if there is an approval waiting, the user will be informed via email or in the portal that an approval is pending and he has to wait until the request is approved. If the request is approved or there is no approval, the automation is triggered with the values the user entered in the front end, and you get some return data back. So why are we doing all of this? And of course, one of the most important thing is to increase your security, because when you use the automated self-service portal to delegate or to provide a front end for different tasks, different actions, then you can reduce your domain admins, your application admins, your Entra admins, whatever application you're triggering with the automation. The users or the help desk or the IT people don't need to log into the application anymore. He can use the front end of Automator to trigger those actions. And when you reduce your domain application admins, there is less more possibilities to have any accident errors. Okay. And of course, with that, you can increase the quality, because automation doesn't depend on if it's cold outside, if it's hot outside, if you have headache or not. Automation always do the same way as you made the automation. Okay. And I have one example for classic user on offboarding. If you have 3 people doing the user on offboarding and you have a written down document how to do it, you can be sure that you have 3 different ways how it is done. Okay, because the humans think different, they interpret the task in a different way. So you can be sure that if you have 3 different people, you have 3 different ways how to do it. And with automation, it is always done the same way. And with that, of course, you save time, because you can delegate your routine tasks, your automation, your services to your end user, to your help desk, to your managers, to your departments, whoever wants to trigger a service or has a request related to IT. So you don't need anyone write a ticket and so on. So that saves a lot of time. And if you save time, of course, you save money, because your IT team then can concentrate to evolve your IT, to evolve new systems, of course, to take care of AI or whatever is right now on your priority list on the very top. So you don't need to pay the people to do routine tasks anymore. They can concentrate or to evolve your business and to bring the IT to the next level. And of course, if the user can request something in a portal and get an immediate response, you will have happy users as well. And I see in many customers that employees are requesting such kind of self-service right now. So if they move from a company which had a self-service portal and do all this stuff, they're requesting those things from the new employer. Okay. And if you don't have this, they will request this kind of self-service. So make sure you already have this in place, or you immediately start. And of course, if you increase security and quality, if you save time and money, and if you have happy users, your IT staff is happy, because your IT staff can do things they like and don't need to do things, daily routine tasks, and so on.
We are now starting with our demo. So I switch over to our demo server. And in the introduction, we talked about how all things work together. And we took a small example, a use case, to put a user into a group. And those things is automated with PowerShell script and, of course, as a front end in the Automator portal. So the script is very simple. So we have 2 input parameters, the user and the group, and then we check if the user is in the group and we add him to the group, or we are returning any errors. So the simple script, without any magic, of course, looks like this. You choose the user. In our case, we took Jasmine. And the next one is we select the group. So here we do the Automator admins. And if you hit the finish button, the automation is triggered and the user Jasmine is pushed to the Active Directory group called Automator admins. So just check if everything was fine. So Automator admins, we check for the group, and Jasmine should be a member of that group. So everything is good. But wouldn't it be nice to see if Jasmine is already a group member of that group and so on? So what we are trying to deliver with the Automator self-service portal and for our customers is the possibility to have the best front end to trigger the automation without taking care of every single way the process can be in the automation. So we are focused on making sure the form presents as accurate as possible the data to the end users. So we have a second form, what is called step 3, of course. It looks like the same form, it is the same automation in the background, but in our case, we now select Jasmine as a user. And when we are trying to add Jasmine to the Automator admins, we don't get that group. Why? Because she's already a member. So we do the double check. I remove Jasmine from the group, apply, and just hit one character to refresh the search. And now we see the group Automator admins. And that's a huge improvement on the user experience and back then in the automation and the process automation. When we see the service, there's one difference. So the first question is, of course, the user. It is a simple LDAP query picker, and the query is object class user. Of course, you can enhance this by only showing the active users and so on, or from a specific OU, but that's on a different webcast. We had one or 2 weeks ago where we talked about PowerShell and Automator, and then we gone through all the questions and all the possibilities. Look at this if you're interested. So, and the next one is, give me also the groups. It's an LDAP query, so give me the groups, but the member should not be the user from the first question. So we can relate on previous questions and we can pass parameters or values from previous questions to the following questions. And so we can build a form with accurate data and without taking care of those things in the automation itself. In the beginning, we talked about improving the service desk, improving the help desk. So add user to a group can be one, or assign license or assign permissions or whatever. Also, one thing can be a password reset, a simple password reset for the help desk. So a user is calling, I cannot log in. What should I do? So I choose the user. In our case, we take Jasmine. And everything can be adapted to your process. So it depends on how your process looks like. Are you resetting the password? Are you resetting, or are you providing a temporary Azure Active Directory Entra ID password? Are you resetting MFA? So everything can be done because the automation in the background is always PowerShell or Azure automation. So everything can be done, and you build the front end accordingly to your needs. So we choose Jasmine. And now we can select, do we want to generate a password? So in the background, the automation is doing a password, or do we want to enter some password so we can enter some values here? The good thing is here that the automation is very simple. So we reset the password, we calculate the password, we reset the password, and we set the option user must change password at next login. That's very simple. But those things, the simple things as well, are mostly forgotten when you do it manually. So when I go to the Active Directory or to the Azure portal and reset the password, the button, the checkbox, user must change password next login, mostly is forgotten. And here I can make sure that with the portal, with the front end, and the automation in the back, that those things will never be forgotten. So in our case, I want to generate a password, click finish. And here we wait for the response and we see directly the password we generated. So we tell the user at the telephone, the user tries, he is resetting the password, and everything is done with under 1 minute or so. So user calls, password forgotten, help desk logs in, resets the password, got the password immediately, tells the user is trying it, everything was fine, with under 1 minute, everything was solved. So that is one of the many examples you saw for the help desk. We had a LinkedIn Live event, I think 3 weeks ago, where we talked about all those steps and tasks for the service desk. So go ahead and see the recording. One more example is for the Active Directory management is update user details. So what we do here is, yes, I got the wrong one. Excuse me, I need to find a different one. You see, we had very many examples. It always depends who is using the service. So the service might look a little bit different. In our case, we want to provide an update user details for the HR department. So the HR department or any local authority in the company is taking care of about the user details like streets and job titles and so on. So whoever you want to provide this form to, he has to select the user. Here we can also limit the user results to the user he's responsible for. So you don't show them all the users, you show them the users he's responsible for. Once again, I take care about Jasmine, and I want to change the phone details. And you see the gray background text. That's nothing we did there. That's an actual property of the user. So when we see Jasmine in the Active Directory and see her telephone number, you see in the telephone, the mobile phone number is the same you see here. So what we do is we present the actual values as a background text to the properties, okay? So you configure what properties you want to show, and we directly show them into the portal. So the HR, the responsible person, has not asked, do not need to ask the IT department, hey, what properties do we have already in there? Or for that, they see it in the portal. So they see if that number is correct. If yes, they don't need to change anything. If they have to change anything, they're just typing in the new telephone number and so on. You saw here that the background text is disappearing, so you have to enter everything at your own, but you can change this behavior depending on your needs. So in this case, we have the organization details, so company, department, job title, and you see here, I can change the text. So that's the same values you see in Jasmine. So we see the organization. That's exactly the values we get from the Active Directory. And sometimes it can be easier to just add some letters or words to the existing values, or sometimes we know to remove. So it depends on your on as you like. So if you want to see the background text disappearing when you enter something, or you can have the values already passed in and want to have customer manager global. So Jasmine was had a new job and she's now global customer manager. And I hit finish. The automation takes care about updating all the properties. Okay, so that's the example on delegating the user data management in Active Directory to someone outside the IT without touching the Active Directory console, without logging into any domain controllers. So one more example is we had in the PowerPoint before the user onboarding or user offboarding. So we had one user onboarding, and as I said before, it depends who is using the service. In our case, this service is used still by the IT department as a toolbox, as a tool to speed up the user onboarding. The future should be to delegate those things completely to HR or to the manager. He's requesting something for the user, but the IT is not responsible for user onboarding, to be honest. Okay, but the process might take some while to from the actual state, like IT is responsible for everything, so to get information to do everything, to the IT is only responsible for the services, Active Directory or Entra or whatever. Okay, so what we do mostly for the customers to build a service, they're still using it, but it's easier for them. So they have a tool, so I can select what employee type is it. Now I enter the first name and the last name. Of course, I can get that information from a system from the HR where it might be already put in. I have to select the location. So where should the user be stored, or in which department? In this example, we get that from the organization units. So this customer, for example, had all his locations and department as organization units. So I see I select the location, and below this location, we have our departments. He is now in marketing. I select the manager from the Active Directory. And now we are here at the reference user. Yes, reference users is not the best case, best practice, but a lot of customers still using reference user. And the shift between using reference users and having roles, department roles, access roles for everything is a longer journey. So we figured out some ways where we can live with reference users, and we have time to evolve that thing to go away from reference users, but this will take some time. What we did here is reference users. So we select. So usually when someone tells you, I need a new user because a new colleague is coming and I need the permissions like this and that, you usually go to Active Directory, right click on that user and make copy. That's a bad idea because you copy all the groups from that user, and that might not be the best choice. So what we did here is, yes, you select the reference users. Yes, we get all the information from the reference users because mostly the telephone number or smartphone number is the same except the last few digits. Okay, so we've already filled that information. And what you can do is, I want to select the groups from the reference users. Okay, I don't want to use everyone, every group. I just want to filter of them. So I see all the groups from the reference user here. Okay, and I can select those I want. And I also can select from all possible groups I want to add the user to. So I can select this as well. And then I see the telephone number, personal number, what I can enter for the user. I can enter ticket number. So we mostly connect automated to the existing ticket system. In this case, we send an email, or we via API, we update the ticket from the ticket system, and it doesn't care if it is ServiceNow, Jira, Service Manager, Freshdesk, whatever, everything that has an API or at least an email connector, we can update the ticket. So with the result of the automation, we update the ticket in directly. You just need to hit or enter the ticket number. And in this example, we also had a contact person to configure. So this person will receive all the information and is welcoming the user on the first day. And when we hit finish, the automation starts. And this can be adopted to your process and to your environment. But the most common steps is now calculate a unique UPN and SAM account name, define a password, add the user to all the necessary groups, create the user in the according organization unit, sync the user to Asia ID, and wait if everything is finished. Add him to all the needed teams, create the mailbox related to his license, add him a license, and maybe add the user's mailbox to a backup system or whatever, and create it in any other subsystems. But until the mailbox, most of the way of the process is the same. So local ID, sync to Entra, license, mailbox, okay? And everything is done in the background. It doesn't depend who is triggering the service, okay? So in this case, we use it in the IT, so we don't have an approval configured, so it will directly create the user in all the systems. We are having a different example, what is used for the HR more. So HR is not related to what groups or whatever. So they want to fill the hard facts. So the first name, the last name. Of course, description, job title, now location. Here we get it from the HR database. So in this case, this is a SQL database. So we get all the location information from the SQL database. We can select also the manager. So we can choose the mailbox language, because at least the HR should know what language does he speak or what location is it in. You can select the license, the mail domain if you have multiple mail domains, and of course all the telephone details. So depending on who is using the service might be different a little bit from the input parameter, but the automation in the background might be the same, because that's everything the same. And in this case, when the HR is starting a request, what we mostly do with our customers is that at least the IT has an approval step. So they have to approve, yes, this user can be onboarded, or maybe no, there was an error, or maybe this user is already onboarded. It wouldn't be the first time the HR is onboarding one user twice or third time. So the ID has an approval step, but no technical involvement. So as they approve the request, the automation is done within minutes compared to if you do it manually within hours, for example. And with this, you have also the possibility to have user offboarding. So what we mostly have is that the HR or IT gets the information that the user is leaving the company. So you have a user picker, you select the leaving date, and on that date, the user is deactivated. The mailbox is maybe connected to his manager, and after 2 months, 3 months, whatever, it is changed to a shared mailbox, or it is deleted, whatever your process looks like. So it depends on how you do the offboarding. We can do this in the automation. So to summarize, we have unlimited possibilities with integration of au2mator and Active Directory. So you can let people access Active Directory data without really accessing the Active Directory itself. So you have a self-service portal with LDAP question types, with dynamic question types, with advanced placeholders you saw in the group membership example. So everything can be easily done and delegated to your non-IT department, every task. And of course, you can use it as a tool or then delegate it to the HR department, the whole user lifecycle management. Okay. And that's a big advantage of having the self-service portal.
We are now coming to the end of our LinkedIn Live event. As the next concrete steps, we offer free initial consultation in which we will look at your potential together. We offer a unique QR code and link so you can directly book an appointment in my calendar for free for the first interview. And in this, we can clarify further details and respond individually to your requirements. So hope to see or hear you in the next days. Thank you for visiting and listening to our LinkedIn Live. And thank you and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.